Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Under further review.
Lift off and the clock has started.
So, Caleb, you just said that a dog ate your loaf of bread.
Yep, that's accurate.
What a selfish animal.
He didn't warn me. I didn't know we were getting.
You're good. You're good. What kind of dog does he have? Oh, you're good.
Okay, so she's part German Shepherd, part Belgian Malinois.
Sounds like she likes.
Interesting.
She could eat a whole loaf of bread. I can picture that.
He ate everything but one of the heels, and
That's almost like spiteful, you know.
she's too smart. She's also so dumb. She thinks she can chase her own shadow.
Well, I think every dog does at some point. I mean, in fact, I think I have done that. So, yeah.
My
Every
kid
dog
does
has
that
a
all
sting.
the time.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
The savage.
Yep.
Does he steal your bread?
I mean, yeah, bread is probably his main food group right now. He's going through a phase where he doesn't want to eat anything. Like, even
man.
chicken nuggets, he'll take them and peel the breading off and eat the breading and then throw the chicken to the dogs.
So Olive Garden must be heaven for that kid.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Just keep
Baskets of
breadsticks
breadsticks.
Yeah, just keep them coming. Just keep them. Oh my god. Yeah. So guys, this is going to be the official launch of this whole playlist kind of review thing. I keep running through it in my head, and I think this is just like such a freaking fun, awesome way to kind of like reconnect with people's musical tastes and sort of like see where what everybody's kind of jiving and what they have been like digging on. It's so cool, and I've been really enjoying this.
Yeah.
But Jamison, just real quick, you pointed out that we basically might as well launch a new show.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking, I'm Local Yokels has been kind of fun just catching up with everyone. It was kind of hard on the last episode. We all want to talk about stories where if we really start a new show and focus in on things, maybe we'll get a little bit more done.
I have a tendency to agree with you. So I'm just going to claim it now. This, when I publish it, will be the inaugural podcast for that.
The music appreciation.
And we'll come up with a name for it. We don't have to worry about that right now.
One off the top of my head
What you got?
Under further review.
Ooh, I do like that. Because it is like, it's going to be a review based kind of show, under further review. I like that.
I'd make a cool NPR opening for it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But I just in general, I was just hoping that you guys could agree to be kind of like the regular cast on this new program. Hopefully the Flan Man can pop in and out when he can. But I think we got a really good, handful of voices here, and we got some really great tastes between all of us that can help like expand everybody's. So,
I have to say, because I was real tired and cranky in a hateful mood last time, and I listened to. We're doing Jamison's first, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Because I've been listening to it, and I was surprised. I was like, okay, maybe I don't hate everything.
But you do have some hate mixed in there.
Oh, always. I can always find something like, I wish it was like this, but I don't know.
Yeah, fair. I mean, you can always pepper that in. I've been jamming it quite a bit, like off and on, just, as we agreed to like do it. But today I put it on when I was opening and when I was closing, and I was able to like go through the list and get like for my closing, I was really into like that upbeat kind of like electronic stuff that you had on there, and the opening there was like stuff to kind of like get me into the morning, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a really good list that I think you put together in general, Jamison. So
like, just as a primer, I kind of put this playlist together, like the whole idea was to have at least something to say about every song. Like either it has a story or it's something I'm listening to right now.
Nice.
So
Nice. Yeah, I was thinking. I mean, if if I think we honestly with the 25 trackers, we can go through the tracks if you don't mind.
yeah.
And that I don't know. Like this is one of the things I kept wondering: was there a particular order to which you put the tracks together, or did you just kind of get go through and find what you needed and get them in there?
So for the most part, there's, I guess it kind of goes in somewhat of a chronological order, but at the same time, actually now that I'm looking at it, not really.
You're just like, oh yeah, I like that song.
They're kind of grouped together. Like the first 5 songs have that's more distinctly high school times, and then it moves on to just a different style of music. But overall, no, it's not in any sort of order.
Fair enough. Because I've been listening to it on shuffle, so that works for me.
Okay.
I was like, do I need to listen to this in order? I don't know. I'm gonna gamble, but
It both worked out.
yeah, but it does. Just in happenstance, it kind of works out too, because especially you're sort of saying the first handful kind of flow right into each other, and then sort of right around you get to that Mezzinger's song. Sorry.
Yeah.
Messengers.
Yes, thank you, Dusty. That kind of picks up into a different sort of a different vibe, and that actually is probably one of my favorite songs on the track. Just heads up. But anyway, the first song on there is a Manchester Orchestra song, "The Maze."
Yes. So on the last podcast, Dusty told me that I needed to dive into what's that album? Now I'm blanking. I was talking
Black Mile to the Surface.
Black Mile to the Surface, right? So I was kind of reading up about the overall story behind that whole album and everything. And that song I saw specifically is supposed to take place apparently the singer wrote that song 2 weeks after his daughter was born. So that's kind of takes it's partially from his daughter's point of view and his point of view, and kind of just an overall idea of parenthood. And obviously as a dad, that song to open the album just hit me immediately. No backstory before it. It's such a great song.
His daughter's name is Maisie,
which is such an awesome name too.
Maisie.
Yeah, that's her throughout their new album, little girl talking. That's his daughter, but
Oh, okay.
That's where the name The Maze came from, because it's like you said, it's supposed to be from the perspective of a newborn child looking up at their parent.
Yeah.
Which that's the first half of the song, and then it switches a little bit to him trying to come to grips with parenthood a little bit, which you definitely it hits some chords for sure, because he was talking about not being fully prepared, and I think no matter what, being a first-time parent, you're never really fully prepared for what's going to go on.
Fair enough. It does seem like a great mystery, man.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Never prepared. You're never prepared.
Never.
And I have to say, I've listened through that whole album now, and I really like it, but it definitely seems a little top heavy. The first 5 songs are all I hate to say bangers, but they're all really good. And I feel as you work down the album, it kind of fizzles out a little bit, for me at least.
Yeah, I mean, the silence, the more you listen to the song, the silence, it's really good. But I kind of agreed. The mistake wasn't that great. The parts wasn't that great.
Right.
But yeah, I discussed the whole album and the whole story with Jared, because I remember when I first listened to it, I just went on this deep Reddit deep dive trying to figure out.
That's where I went too. Yep.
And how it's kind of the opening song's a flash forward in a way. And then it kind of goes back into that backstory, and then you have all him shooting up the grocery store and
Yep. Which
all
I
that shit.
explained that whole story to Amy, and she was just like mortified, like, why would you listen to any of that? But
Oh, it
whenever
is
I
fucked
turn
up.
it on, she enjoys it. It's just like if I give her the backstory, she's like, I don't want to listen to this.
It's just a
Fair enough.
it's just a really sad story altogether about
Yeah,
just
yeah, for
depression
sure.
and working in a mine in South Dakota.
And working in a mine. Man, I wonder if Zoolander's like dad ever felt like that.
John Voight.
John Voight. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, dude, I thought this was a great track opening up the playlist. I really enjoyed it because it was when I first put your playlist on, I was like driving to work one day and it was like, I don't know, like 6:30, something like that. And there's nobody around and the song just kind of like starts and it kind of crescendos in, man, and it kind of picks up and it just like, it was like such a great like open to the day. And the idea of like the kind of like, sort of like, childhood wide-eyed, like, what am I, like, who am, what are these things around me, kind of mentality is really portrayed well, like, through that, you know what I mean? And, I don't know, kind of hit. So, it was a good choice, man. It was a really good choice off that album.
I couldn't put my finger on it for a minute, but whenever I wanted the Manchester Orchestra songs came on, I was just like, I've heard this before. Like the guy has a very distinct voice.
He does.
And I've listened to a lot of them. I have no idea what songs or albums, but with my friend Dalton. And yeah, it's like super atmospheric, and I like all the like they do like the old school like pedal boards and cool like reverbs and things like that.
Well, and that first song, the song, The Maze, has like a really like has a pretty strong like gospel feel to it almost.
Yeah.
And it's, it kind of,
it like swells like
it's
Oh,
almost
yeah.
it's uplifting without being like fast and in your face.
Yeah, he's the son of a pastor, so I'm sure Caleb could
Makes
relate.
sense.
So he's got like all that religion ingrained in him.
and I do like there is something nice that like bands that they like them and that I've heard them do where it's this effect that I used to. It's really fun to do. You get a volume pedal and like a bunch of reverb and delay, and then like you just like strum a chord, but then you like have no volume when you actually strum it, so there's no attack. And then just swell it in. And they always used to do that at like altar calls at the end of like a church thing, like come down and pray or whatever. Like
All right,
that was
open the pit.
Yeah.
basically that was the religious version of that. But I do always really like that effect, and they used it well in that song. Sorry,
No, you're good, dude. You're good. Yeah, I agree. The next song though, dude, like the Me Without You, man. Like, I was wondering about this. Like, out of what about the Soviet? Me Without You, the Soviet, like hit off of that track, off of that album, because that album, Catch for Us the Foxes, is like, to me, it's like it's such a fucking good album. Like I can still.
I think it's their best one for sure.
Yeah.
And that one specifically, I remember it being like the first Me Without You song that caught me because, the opening just has that really like driving bass line in the beginning of it. And I also remember you and Jeremiah and a few other people, you came to Coeur d'Alene to play a show once, I think for Schmouder. And I met up with you guys and we went to have lunch together, and you guys were in my Jeep with me, and I remember specifically playing that song, and we all just fucking jammed out.
Hell yeah, dude.
Listening to that. I don't know if you remember that, but
I do. And yeah, dude, I mean, that was one. I was wondering if that's one of the reasons why that was on there.
yeah.
Hell yeah. But it is, dude. It's such a driving song, like right off the bat. Like, it's one of the things I like about Me Without You is that you can pay attention to the lyrics. You can, or you can like really pay attention to the music. You can go either way with it, and either one has like a lot of like energy and kind of, I don't know, a lot of stuff to pay attention to, I suppose.
Right.
But yeah, this song just hits, man. It still hits. Like, so
I think we talked about it last time with Me Without You being just like kind of an indie band that I ignored, but like I don't know if you guys remember Memphis Will Be Laid to Waste by Norma Jean, which was a song that Theria always covered at the Grange. But at the end of that song, like they go to a breakdown and then they have like clean vocals for a couple lines, and that's the lead singer for Me Without You that does that thing. And that was like the first time that I was turned on to Me Without You, and I was like, oh, this is, because it's nothing else like in Norma Jean. Norma Jean's pretty like hardcore, but they had those clean vocals, and so I figured I'd check it out, and that was Me Without You.
Yeah, that's cool. That there's a song I'm going to put in the list later on that kind of I have it's like a similar story with that. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was a good choice because anything from that album really will hit. But that was cool. Caleb, what do you think about it though? What's your take on Me Without You in general? I've
listened to like their older stuff more. Like so, I guess I can bring it up now. I was kind of wait, but like in the Soviet, like the vocal style is so different. I think in both, like, because later on there's Bear's Vision of St. Agnes, but we'll get to that. But he kind of has like this thing where it's like he's testifying. Like, it's almost like a speech kind of thing.
Yeah, I get that.
But the vocal styles between those two songs are so different. So it was weird to hear the change because I'm familiar with like the old stuff.
Well, and see, that's an older song. I mean, between that song and St. Agnes is probably close to a 10-year gap, like recording wise. Maybe not quite that, but a significant gap. And so this is kind of like their older, maybe a little bit more angsty stuff, you know?
For sure. That's why it's a lot. That's why you get a lot of that feel of like, I'm just getting it off my chest, you know?
Yeah.
But you're kind of right. I think that, and we'll talk about it, I guess, more when we get to St. Agnes. But it's like they definitely started taking creative turns with their music, and I think they were starting to, Me Without You kind of, they just started thinking like a little bigger than they're just kind of like, I'm gonna throw it all into a microphone, which really works well for this album and this song in general. But yeah, they definitely, like all good bands should, they evolved over time. Like
that song, did you have like that one song is like the Fox, the Crow, and the Cookie on this list? Isn't that one of their songs?
I don't have it on this list, and that one doesn't.
For some reason I thought it was, but maybe it popped up on another one of my daily playlists today.
Yeah, by the way, my daily playlists have been getting wild because of you guys. All right. Track 3 on the list, man. So this one, Seosin. Okay.
Right.
What was the influence behind 7 Years by Seosin?
So Seosin, this is really, really early Seosin as well. So they went through a change where originally their lead singer was Anthony Green, who's also the frontman for Circa Survive. And so this was like their first EP that they put out. And this was kind of like my first move into like smaller, more like, they're not, I wouldn't call them a hardcore band, but they're more they're more niche, I guess, than like Avenged Sevenfold, which started my metal movement. But I saw Seosin before they got big at Warped Tour. Like the first time I walked into Warped Tour, they were on the first stage at the bottom of the hill. Walking in, and like it was the first band I ever saw at Warped Tour, which was my first concert just in general. So they'll always hold like kind of a special place in my heart. And that song is, I mean, it's just damn good as well.
Yeah, it's still got some energy to it, man. And you mentioned that was like one of their, if not their like first pieces of real work, but that was the album was from 2003. So that was just like, And you know, then like that, I feel like that was like, you know, emo, screamo, hardcore, whatever, was like really like going into whatever it became in like the middle of the 2000s. Yeah, it's about to blossom into.
It was in utero.
That one, I like that one because I'm a huge fan of Circus Survive. They're probably one of my all-time favorites. So
they played in Wenatchee once.
They did.
I saw that. I was there. I never knew that or would have guessed that, Caleb. I thought.
Oh yeah. I still have what is it? Violent Waves in my car. It's always in the rotation.
Ah.
That's a great album.
I got in trouble at this was the last Warped tour I went to. Circus Survive played on the main stage at Warped, and during one of their songs they threw condoms out to the entire crowd. And so I kept that and I put it like on my dresser, and my mom walked into my room. She's like, "What the hell do you have a condom in here for?" And I'm like, "Mom, I got it at the Warped tour. It's fine."
I'm never gonna use it.
If it comes from Warped Tour, it's fine, Ma.
Yeah.
I promise I won't use it. I promise.
I'm gonna raw dog. Don't worry.
It's yeah. Do you still have it though? Did you end up framing it or something?
So I would have to
$1.
like I have a box of stuff down in my grandparents' shed or down in the shed, and I'm sure it's in there, but I'm not sure. Like I haven't gone through that in probably 15 years. So
You're like, I'm not going fishing for it.
if it's anywhere, it's in there.
Fair enough.
Look through it.
Oh man. Okay. So from Seosin we make a jump.
Yeah,
We
we're
go
going
from-
a little bit darker, a little bit heavier.
Straw.
House of Straw by Bury Your Fucking Dead, aka Bury Your Dead.
I mean, you just have to say bury your fucking dead.
You kind of do.
You have to do it. But yeah, so they were, I mean, far and away my favorite band in high school. Like
Yeah.
I think any of our friends, if you asked them what was Jamison's band, it would be Bury Your Dead. And so that album dropped in our sophomore year, and they had just signed to a new record label, so they had a lot more money for recording.
Yeah.
And that was the opening track on that album. And so I mean, just a huge jump in recording quality, and it was just like, it blew me away, you know, like how much harder and how much better it sounded. And
Mhm.
so I had to throw that one in for the nostalgia.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Got
Well, that's
those drum triggers.
That's a good point though, man. Like the fact that like there's this like really distinct noticeable difference in just like the production on it, you know, the quality of the recording, that like, you know, that as well as the music, you know, that's cool that like kind of blew your fucking mind when it came out. But
Oh yeah, that's like straight up 10th grade. Like,
oh yeah,
and
Yep.
Troy's blazer coming back from lunch. Listen to Bury Your
Yep.
Dead.
Beauty and the Breakdown.
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah.
Caleb, what's your hot take?
It's a fun throwback. That's definitely like my preferred album from that. But
Just
I
ends with
think
the breakdown too.
it was. I did like kind of like when you mentioned that, Jamison, the recording quality. Like I listened to some of their old stuff like after that came on. I was like, oh, a little Bury Your Dead deep dive, and yeah, like the production quality. Like I always love that when you like a band and then on a new album they start using drum triggers and you're like, oh my god, this sounds so much better.
Yeah. Well, and they signed to Victory Records, which I don't know if they're defunct now, but they were really big in the like hardcore and emo scene at
Yeah.
that point. Like I think they made a shitload of money off of Hawthorne Heights when they got released, and that kind of drove them into getting a lot of other bands.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. I definitely remember they were one of the labels that eventually had like, they had like that side stage sponsor sometimes at Warped Tour.
Yep.
Yeah, they did, dude. They just got built up from that hardcore emo scene. All right, but that takes us into an interesting track. Death is an Alcoholic by Maylene and the Sons of Disaster.
Yeah, which I had never, like, they weren't a band that I found or one that our friend group really listened to. That was like, specifically, I remember Jeremiah, like the first time we ever hung out together, and I went over to his place, and being the early 2000s, what do? You take your iPod and you plug it into somebody else's computer and
Stealer.
music.
Yeah, buddy.
The best.
And that was, Maylene was like the one band he specifically said, if you listen to anything, you have to listen to these guys. And and that one, it just has that like southern rock or southern metal drive to it, and
it's very much Every Time I Die style.
Yeah.
So every time that would come on, I'd be like, is it Every Time I Die? Which I know I was like Jeremiah, like in high school, 10th grade specifically, was just so into them.
Alien, Every Time I Die.
Yeah, those are like the big three. But yeah, dude, I mean, I was glad this was on there because it re-sparked my my love for Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. They have, I'm super attached to their album 3, but like, it was cool catching this in the lineup because I love that shit. They like that southern metal kind of like.
Yeah, for sure.
I like the bit of twang that they throw in there.
It just gives like that little bit of groove that you don't get on just like a straight album.
Exactly.
Like they just have a little bit more soul almost.
Yeah.
Boozy, groovy touch.
A groovy touch. It touches and it is groovy. But this is dude, okay, so right into after the party though. Well, where'd this track come from?
So that when I started listening to Manchester, they came up in like a radio selection on Spotify of them. I'd never heard of them, and this song, like the way he sings, like his vocals switching from clean to scream the whole time is really awesome. And it just it has just like a really good like pop punk vibe to it a little bit. And being somebody that I never heard before, it was just like kind of refreshing to get new pop punk that I haven't heard 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, this was a new track for me too. So, and I really dug it too. Like that kind of pop punk energy was fucking awesome throughout it. But it definitely reminded me of like stuff kind of coming out around like, the early 2000s and
very much
also
the Rise Against feel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. What time did this come out?
Rise Against, and then I kind of get a bit of a Gaslight Anthem, but more a punky Gaslight Anthem.
Yeah. Well, this is a 2017 album that it's from, so
It feels really nostalgic.
Totally.
Kind of vibe.
Totally.
But it still feels fresh, and I mean,
Definitely.
really 2017 for me might as well came out 6 months ago, but
word.
I mean, 2008, not 2008, like 2005, 2006, I was way into Rise Against at the time.
I remember that.
So that one album, Siren Song of the Counterculture.
Yeah, for what is it? For We These Streets Belong.
Yeah.
Whatever. I remember just blasting that at my house and all just like fist pumping nonstop.
Yeah. Listen to that before a football game. Just kind of get you pumped up.
There you go. Yeah, dude. I don't know. This is a cool track, and it actually turned me on to them in general. So I think this was a good pick because like you said, it was something weirdly nostalgic but fresh at the same time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
And I don't know, maybe that's because I just haven't been listening to too much pop punk or something. But like every time I do, I don't know, like
it sucks you in.
Yeah, it does, dude. It does.
Sometimes. This one.
Yes, sometimes. Yeah, Caleb, we need a hot take.
It's not my favorite genre in general. It's not as ska is the worst though.
Ska is the worst.
I like a good ska every once in a while.
McGrady's
I'll go
declaring
for
it
some
now.
Ska. But
You've heard it here. His anti-ska podcast.
No, wait. I think
least one.
Goldfinger's still on my list.
Oh,
That's okay. I mean, if you guys like ska, that's cool.
we're a ska positive podcast, bro.
I support everyone's right. It's the First Amendment to play and listen to ska.
We are genre fluid here, all right?
But if I'm sitting there hearing ska, I'm just gonna stand there and make a grumpy face. But anyway, no, this is like, pop punk isn't always my jam, but this one was like, I liked it. It kind of reminded me of like Rise Against, or even like, I don't know, it kind of made me think of like when I used to listen to like Bad Religion, but it just has a very like kind of yearning, nostalgic vibe to it. And good chord changes. I like that one.
And a little bit like, I like the song a lot, but if I focus on like the lyrics of it, it is a little like cheeseball for lack of better terms. Like, I think, but at the same time, it's like you kind of come to expect that out of a pop punk band, so I can look past it.
You gotta have that angst, like edge, kid, emo kids roped in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, what's interesting is like, I suppose as like pop punk artists in particular get older, it's like keeping that energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at like so many people, like NoFX is a great example. Like they do like YouTube like shows and stuff like that, but like they're still slamming, man. They're just doing it, kind of a little bit at their own pace. Like, you know what I mean? But they're still like putting it out there, which is kind of cool. But that's always the interesting thing about like just punk and pop punk in general to me, is just like that, how that music, it captures that energy, and then you can just kind of draw from it at any time. Like this track was the one that I kept like through that like slog of work days I just had. Like this is really like, I would pull this up and like it would just like give me some like, kind of like live boost sometimes in the morning, just to like slam some espresso and just like make some shit happen, just because I like that energy, But good pick, man, good pick. But that brings us to what, another unknown for me, Catfish and the Bottlemen.
This song's been around for
Cocoon
5 years, but I always liked this band.
Yeah, this is a good track, man.
Okay, well, I'm surprised because so I have to give Amy a couple shout outs here, because for the most part our musical tastes are in conflict, and we share a Spotify, so you're liked playlist. Yeah, we'll just go through, and for the most part we're just fighting constantly on whose playlist that is, and fair. That is the one. Like, there's 2 songs in this playlist that I'll give her credit for finding and me really enjoying.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember them, because I listened, like, on Sirius, I listened to Alt Nation, and they're pretty big back in the day on there. I find a couple good things from Alt Nation every once in a while. Otherwise, it's a lot of stuff like this, but then they play kind of poppy-ish stuff. Like, they think that Billie Eilish is somehow indie still, but
yeah, that's conflicting.
Yeah.
Well, and if I had to put my thumb on it, I would probably say this is the song that Caleb hates the most from my playlist.
Actually, no. I was
this is a good song.
I'd never heard of him before, but that was like one of, I think, the first ones that came on when I was shuffling, and I was like, I like this one a lot. It just, I don't know. I'd never heard of it, and it all was agreeable, and
just a fuck it song,
Yeah,
literally
in the lyrics.
Dude,
I don't know. I thought it was good. It was sonically pleasing. I remember that, and it stood out to me actually as one of the ones I liked the most.
Yeah,
sonically pleasing. I like that term. That's why we'll have to label this podcast that, sonically pleasing.
Not always. Depending on who.
Sometimes. Yeah, no, it was cool. I'm glad that that's kind of fun when you know, like I sort of say the same thing, Jamison. My musical taste doesn't always line up with Nadine's, but we do have some like random crossover, you know.
Yeah.
And it is kind of fun to find those random tracks, man.
Yeah.
But that track takes us right into another Me Without You track, and that's the one we were mentioning earlier, Bear's Vision of St. Agnes. So
Yes.
where
So
did
this one,
that pull from?
Yeah, so this came out in it was either 2012 or 2013, and I had just started my new job working on airplanes, and at the time we had huge shifts. Like there would be like 150 guys on a shift with us, and they're really strict. You know, you can't wear headphones, but everyone was allowed. Like if you had a speaker, you could listen to music while you were working. It was fine. And this new album came out, and like I work with a lot of 40, 50, and 60-year-old like country folk who just want to listen to country music, and I did not give a shit. Like I listened to this whole album like up in the airplane with 20 people around me, just rolling their eyes the entire time, not enjoying it.
Like this
And I didn't care one bit. And like we were mentioning before, it was like a total shift for Me Without You. Like it was almost more like spoken word and very clean vocals. But that album's almost like a concept album as well. That like I don't remember the
It's
title
from the-
track of it, but
I was just looking it up. It's 2012.
If I'm correct, it's supposed to be
February
about
1878.
like these. It's supposed to be centered around the circus animals that.
yeah. So a circus, they're on a train, and the train crashes.
Yeah.
In the first track, and then it kind of anthropomorphizes the animals a little bit and gives them like some human qualities, and then working through the track list you see, you know, kind of the vision from each from the different animals and stuff. But this one specifically, like, I mean, none of the lyrics like really stick out, but it just comes off as a powerful song. Like it just has a good, like, the lyrics are front and center to it, and the vocals are front and center, and the music kind of takes a back step a little bit, but it pulls you through the whole song in a pleasing way to my ear, at least.
Hell yeah.
It's like a climax to the album kind of feel to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Conflict resolution. Yeah, the first song's called February 1878.
Yep, that's it.
2012.
Yeah,
9 years ago. Damn.
And so I started my job November 2012. So
okay, I was living with Jeremiah in a yellow house, and we probably were working on an album then, and I remember him and his ex-wife went to like go see Me Without You like after this came out. And brought back like a bunch of merch from it, and I was just like, that's when I first really like actually heard about the album. I was like, oh, what is this? Okay. But yeah, dude, this is, you know, kind of like what we were talking about. You know, it's this really interesting shift that, because it's like a band like Me Without You, and you think you know what to expect from them. This whole album became really intriguing, just in general. You know.
Yeah, it was a big shift for sure.
Yeah. All right, Caleb. You know what time it is. Where's your hot take?
This was my least favorite song.
Caleb's least favorite song. I need to get something.
It deserves credit for its creativity and the concept I thought were interesting. And the lyrics were like, I was a little confused, but it makes more sense now.
Yeah, fair enough.
But the thing I didn't like was it's just something about like the enunciation.
Yeah, he has a very nasally
it just
voice
makes me
to it. Yeah,
I don't know.
Smashing Pumpkins.
That's my
vibe.
only complaint, but it's a small complaint, but it's enough to murder my.
Well, fair enough. I guess you know they can't all be winners there, Caleb.
It made me feel something.
Oh, there you go. And
That's all that matters.
exactly.
You're down in your loins.
Yeah, it does. It makes my gooch like tighten. And I go like, ah.
Working on those Kegels.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
You just put that on and do some Kegels.
There you go. The 6-minute Kegel workout.
Oh god.
However long that song is.
It makes me anxious just thinking about it.
The Kegels or the song?
All
Yeah.
of it.
All of it, the whole thing.
No matter what, his gooch is tightened. So
Yeah. There's no going back. All right, man. So that takes us into "Young Lady, You're Scaring Me" by Ron Gallo.
yeah. So this song, like, I don't have any story behind it besides just being kind of a cool jam.
Definitely.
This, I'm sure, popped up on some Spotify list, but it's got kind of that real retro vibe to it, you know, kind of like a 70s, just kind of good groove song.
Yeah.
I
feel like every time I hear it, I think it's Greta Van Fleet for a second.
Yeah. Well, I can
get
see that.
That classic rock feel from it.
Yep. Yeah.
that vintage gear sound. It's nice.
Yeah.
This is also from 2017.
Oh,
Man, it seems like that's my like musical year of choice.
Yeah, it's like so far I think that you've gone through it's like 2003 and 2017 so far.
Yeah, right in that.
Like
little
right in,
gap.
yeah, so but yeah, no, this is again, yeah, kind of like an unknown track to me. And so it was kind of a cool jam to just like pop on. I wouldn't have, like, off the bat, I don't think I guessed that this was like a more modern song.
Right.
Sure.
Mhm.
But maybe I was just naive. But no, I think it's a cool. I think it's like something you can throw this in a playlist and just like it would help, you know, just connect everything, just to keep the playlist moving along. You know, it's a good thing to throw in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lyrics scare me, especially the first line about moving into a house with a bunch of cats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that. You know, maybe
It's
like
too
a bunch of dogs, but
A house with 12 cats just sounds like a nightmare to me.
it
The house
Sounds
with
like
a
a
it does.
Yeah.
It sounds like a goddamn nightmare. I'm waking.
I can smell the ammonia.
I'm sweating now just thinking about it. Dude, I've never had a good relationship with cats. When I was a kid, I had a babysitter who had like 2 or 3 black cats, and for some reason they just
Was she a witch?
maybe they had a goat out back, and eventually it was no longer there.
Oh, shit.
But no, they just had these cats, and they just like, for some reason, I just have these distinct memories of playing Monopoly on the Nintendo and getting my shins clawed the fuck out by cats. And like ever since then, I've always been like, and I just never seems to click. I mean, Dusty,
Yeah.
you've had some cats I've jived with, I guess. So like,
Yeah, I've got 3 cats.
yeah, I
Oh,
know.
man.
Well, one of them.
Yours
one
are
of
always so
them I've
chill.
had-
It seems like.
One of them's the other one I've had since I was in 8th grade. He's still kicking.
Oh
Rocky.
yes, Rocky.
Wow.
Yeah. And I kind of inherited my sister's 2 cats. So I'm like,
Oh, that's
all right,
good.
I guess I'll take them.
Do you think you can handle 9 more?
No,
No.
definitely not.
All right, man. So now we're on to "You Worry Me" by Nathaniel Ratliff and the Night Sweats.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I don't remember where I first got exposed to them, but they also have like a really retro vibe, but pushing it back even further. Like, I would say they're almost like 50s band, maybe. Like, I don't know. That's the vibe I get. But they just have like that good soulful
Yeah,
vibe to them. And then I saw them at the Gorge with Kings of Leon
yeah. Oh, that'd be a good one.
2 years ago, and it was just super like they have so much energy on stage. Like,
Nice.
they're just going for it, like full bore. And like they opened for Kings of Leon, and like they didn't have anything like it wasn't a big production. They didn't have the mega screen going for them, but they just put out so much energy that it didn't matter. So it's like I'm always drawn to them as a band. Like I listen to everything they put out just because they have that fun energy to them.
There's definitely bands for me that have like the kind of sell factor is that like it's like what they bring to that live performance. Which, you know, like talking about recordings is one thing, but like if you're talking about like a musical act or a band as a whole, like live performance and what you bring to the stage is a huge part of it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So yeah, that's cool. That's a cool point, man. But this is so I was familiar with this track and the other one a little further down, but I had no idea who the artists were. This was one of those like I probably heard it like so many times and like it just, you know, like I just never took the moment to like stop and like look who it was.
Right.
So that was kind of cool. I was like, oh, I discovered it finally.
I put them. I put them once again in my genre of liquor cabinet rock, as we were discussing.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's a
cabinet
good
rock.
fit.
Yeah, it's like it's not too hard. It's just something you can like just chill and listen to.
Yeah, for sure. Like
evening,
I'd
smoke a
put their
cigar.
album on, like sitting on the porch, drinking a beer.
Yeah. There you go, for
watching
sure.
sunset. You know, that golden hour.
Caleb, what would you do with this song?
Well, I like what Jameson said, but it would have to be a situation where like I'm on the porch with Jameson and he puts it.
Yeah, Caleb would never put this on, but you'd enjoy it.
It's good.
Yeah,
like,
but you would yeah, exactly. I think you'd enjoy it at the moment though.
yeah, for sure. But it's not something like it's not the type of thing I would seek out. But so on the one hand, it's like it's nice to be like, yeah, this is something enjoyable, but I have to be like in a chill, patient mood, which is rare. Dude has no chill.
Fair enough.
So that's the only stipulation. But yeah, that's a great way to. It's a good one to chill on the porch too.
Would you, if you were on the porch, Caleb, would you just like, all right, just gonna put on something just nice here and just put on some Cradle of Filth or something like that?
I'm not a huge Cradle of Filth fan, but
sorry, Satyricon then.
no, not that.
Satyricon's the greatest.
I remember one time we threw a party at my house, and we were hotboxing the hot tub room, and Bryce Bitterman and a few other like kids who weren't in our friends group and they're like more in the preppy group of people showed up.
Yeah.
And Caleb had control of the playlist. He's just playing the terrifying death metal, and it's like Bryce Bitterman and Tyler Spaeth and their girlfriends, and they're just like wide-eyed like, what the fuck did we just walk into? Like
Those chitlins didn't even know.
They're nice kids. I like them.
That's funny though. Yeah, I mean, well, there's like a whole like, I don't know, kind of crowd that just sort of like circulated. I would say they were just like, they would go from party to party. So like whatever like clique group thing was having like some sort of like, you know, party, you can count on like a handful of these like preppy ass kids to show up.
up. Yeah.
They're like, we can drink beer here finally.
Yeah. Somewhere to drink beer.
Finally. I honestly, I feel like I've still jumped more fences in the Wenatchee Valley than like anywhere else. Like having to like run from parties and shit like that.
I'm
you know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for a particular time.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah. All right, man. So now comes the first Sturgill Simpson song.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sturgill.
I think I only.
Sturgill. I think it's the only one actually.
Yeah. Yeah, just that one on this one. But this is from his album High Top Mountain, which I believe is his like first album, and it's definitely his most distinctly country western album. But this song, like, I think it really showcases his vocal range. Like he comes in right off the bat with like a really powerful drive into it. and the lyrics are hilarious. Like
They are.
I've been spending all my money on weed and pills, like trying to write a song that'll pay the bills.
Yeah.
It's
It's
hilarious.
such a good like. I've been spending all my money on weed and pills. You know, it's just got like some like. But you're right. It's just like it's kind of like right out the gate, and that's that like immediately hooks you, like your attention. You know what I mean?
And for me, like my grandparents or my granddad in particular, you know, he always had a propensity towards like outlaw old school country, you know, the Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Merle Haggard, and this has that like outlaw country feel to it. Definitely. For sure.
Definitely.
I love that song. That's one of my actual like favorite albums that I found recently.
I think it's his best album for me, and I like all of his albums, but that one specifically, like if you have any hint of enjoying country music, that is like a gem for sure.
Fair enough. I'll have to try and I'll actually have to listen to the whole album then. Like that's cool that you guys are both recommending it. But yeah, I mean that one track, like I said, like immediately kind of like grabbed my attention. So yeah, that was cool, man. That was cool. Yeah, and that's another like what 2013 or something like that.
Yeah, it's got to be about 2013.
Yeah, it was before he made the change where, well, I wouldn't call it change, where he just started experimenting with different genres and stuff.
Yeah, he experiments a lot because like earlier, I guess it was 2020, he put out a 2-part album, Mowing Grass, and that has more like it's kind of back to his roots country, but the one before that, Sound and Fury, is like a rock experimental album, and he has that twang in his voice still, but it's definitely more of a rock album.
Yeah, I was at like more of a prog rock, psychedelic-ish feel out of it, but because I really got into that album.
Yeah, you should check that on Netflix. Just look up Sound.
Yeah, I watched the anime.
Yeah, because he got together with like one of Japan's most notable anime like directors, I guess, and made a Netflix
it just
movie.
like goes track by track.
Oh, cool.
It's like
check it out. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I will. That's fucking awesome. That sounds rad. That damn. Okay, well, and that takes us to like the next, probably the oldest track on the list, maybe.
Yeah.
Which is like what, you know, mad respect, Dolly Parton, Jolene.
Yeah, so I think this song has gained like a lot of popularity. I remember a few years ago Miley Cyrus covered it and it kind of blew up. But this goes back to kind of like my early childhood with my grandparents listening to like old country. And I mean, really, Dolly she's a powerhouse of a lady. Like her vocals are just undeniably good to anyone, and this song just has like, even though she's a country artist, like this song has a groove to it that
totally
goes above and beyond the genre of the time.
Well, and I think she kind of just in general, you know, I think she sort of did that. She kind of like wasn't just country with her sound all the time, very country at times, you know, but like she definitely kind of moved around a little bit, like but yeah, this song, you know, like I was thinking about like throwing a Dolly Parton song on my list, and I was like, oh, he's got Jolene. But you know, like she's one of those artists like you can really dig into, I think. I don't think you need to listen to Miley Cyrus's covers, you know.
Which I mean, hers wasn't bad.
It's not bad, but it's like you might as well listen to
the original
Dolly,
it's
you know. Yeah, and I mean, like, it's you get all the drama, but it's more straightforward in its presentation, I think. And that's something I really like about a lot of her music, and is that, like, you know, it gets to the point. But yeah, this song was, always a good pick, man. Always a good thing to throw on. But that's cool. That's like kind of harkens back to the childhood.
Yeah, well, and I don't know if you guys remember, but we had a jukebox at my house downstairs. And this was one of the songs that it was an old school jukebox that played 72 record singles. So, and it had Jolene was one of the singles on the jukebox. So
I remember putting a dart through that jukebox.
Yep, that's when we got rid of it. Dusty put a dart right through the face of that bad boy.
Why do you have a dartboard with that thing?
It was a poor choice on my parents' part, for sure.
Especially like legit darts too, not just
not plastic.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Caleb, how do you feel about Dolly?
I have no complaints about Dolly. She's an American classic. I must protect her at all costs.
Must protect her at all costs. I agree. Well, she's as just like a human being.
Great person.
She's a like really great person. She's doing a lot with her like fame and fortune and her years, I think. So it's something that you can like really respect, I think. Yeah.
And it always makes me wonder, like, man, how hot is Jolene if Dolly's worried about her snatching her boyfriend?
Yeah,
Dolly's
She's got to be.
Who's this
Jolene's
Jolene?
smoke show.
All right, and so next we come back to the night sweats.
Night sweats.
Just something I
Harry
seem
Potter and the
to
Nightmares.
have when it's more than 90 degrees. Yeah, dude. So son of a bitch, aka SOB.
I mean, this song, it's kind of the same story as the other with Nathaniel Rateliff, but I mean, this song is just such it's fun. It's a really fun song. And that's really all you can say about it. Like, anyone, if you listen to this song and you've had a couple drinks, like, you're probably gonna, like, it's gonna make you
Son
feel,
of a bitch.
yeah, like, you might just yell it out, or when the hook comes, you might jump up and dance with it or something, but something's gonna happen when you listen to this song.
Something's gonna happen. I agree, man. It's one of those that just has energy to it, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, yeah. Caleb, hot take?
I'm not a huge fan of Harry Potter and the Nightmares, but
Have you ever yelled "son of a bitch" to this song playing?
no, I haven't.
Oh boy.
I don't know. It's like it's fine.
Well, we're just gonna have to wait till September. We're gonna play it until you yell "son of a bitch."
I guess Caleb just shat all over my theory because he's not feeling nothing with this song.
Caleb feels nothing.
It's fine. It's okay. I'm telling
The
you.
verdict, it's
I gotta-
fine. Just stamp across the screen, it's fine.
You gotta get me in that rocking chair with some whiskey, and I'll be like, son of a bitch.
There you go. There you go. Get this man a rocking chair.
Oh, I'm not there right now. So.
Get him in the rocking chair, get him in the mood.
Get him in the mood. All right, and so next we got "Hey Mommy" by Sylvan Esso. This track is definitely one I'm familiar with. It's got some bang to it, you know.
Yeah, this is, I think we talked on the last episode a little bit about Sylvan Esso, where, I was just at a record store in Coeur d'Alene. I'm kind of thumbing through stuff, and I hear it in the background, and it's this song in particular. And sure enough, you got to pull out the
Shazam it, yeah.
On the iPhone.
Yep.
And ever since then, like, I'll listen to Sylvan Esso, like all of their albums, but this one in particular with this song, and Coffee is on there as well, is something that I listen to quite a bit that I really enjoy. It's kind of unique, got that kind of indie flair to it a little bit, you know, but still with that electronic vibe a little bit. So.
Yeah.
For sure. I would honestly say like this is one of those tracks, and probably that just like the album in general. Like it's like for me, it's like it's morning music. You know, like I can put that on, and like start getting my day going. You know, like
Something
it
playing in the cafe feel to it, coffee rock-ish.
Coffee rock-ish.
Coffee house, as they call it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. Like, yeah.
But then I guess that electronical feel a little bit to it too.
Dude, music in the coffee house is so weird. It's so weird. And it's not what you want. It's not what you.
I liked all the changes in it, like there's like really interesting beats, like polyrhythms happening, but it's still like got like a drive. But then there's like some weird extra stuff like there. I don't know. That really drew me into it.
There's a lot to take in the track, you know, sonically, if you will.
They're cute. They're very different, but it reminds me of this band I like called Polyenzo.
Polyenzo.
And
Polyenzo.
I'll send you guys a link, but there's an album called Pyramid Plastic, and their percussionist is just out of this world, and it's a fucking rad album. You guys would like it. But it reminded me of that. I mean, totally different vocal styles, but I was just like, damn, these drum beats slap, y'all.
Slap. Jeremiah would be proud of you for using it correctly.
Yeah.
I don't know if I think I've used slap correctly once so far. I'm trying though. But okay.
Books.
But God, dude, I got so you know, just completely branching off real quick because old heart. Jeremiah is one person I'm looking forward to forcing to get in front of all of us and present a playlist.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
for sure.
Because you know that shit's gonna be weird too.
Oh, yeah.
But Jamison, so what's this next one? Is it Munica?
Yeah,
Maunica?
I'm not really sure. That I'll go with that. Maunica, sure.
Cave Town, either way.
Yeah.
Cut My Hair.
Yeah. So I was a while ago. Nick put out a song, you know, on his solo thing, where it was a lo-fi song, and I dug it. So I started listening to some Spotify like lo-fi tracks, and this is one I don't know why. Amy constantly questions me why I like the song, but it's just got it's minimal lyrics with just like a really good beat that, you know, I can just throw in the headphones at work and just get shit done without having to focus on anything else, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's exactly one of the things I liked about it. I got that I love when I can get that vibe from certain types of music and stuff like that. You know, you can just be like, okay, boom, I'm blocking this, I'm blocking the world out with this, and I'm focusing on what I need to.
Yep.
I think Flannery's thing was with the Lo-Fi Spring Rolls by Streamlights.
Yep.
Streamlights is a solo thing.
Okay, I was just gonna ask. One of us has to plug it for him. String Lights. Okay.
There we go.
Shout out Streamlights on YouTube.
Yo, dude. But for real though, he turns out some fun shit on there, man.
Oh yeah.
This podcast sponsored by Streamlights, everybody. Streamlights. Streamlights.
That's right. He actually owes us money now.
Give me some of your Dogecoin, asshole.
Give me that Doge. Does he? No, we don't need to talk about that.
He did have some. I've got a whole $6 worth.
The Doge. The Doge. I don't think I have any Doge. I'm just gonna throw it out there now. Old Heart Radio owns no Doge.
We old Heart Radio.
Yeah, we're in the process of launching our own cryptocurrency. You know? But this takes us into something we talked a little bit about on the last podcast, I think. The Black Puma's song "Colors."
Yeah,
another just jam, dude. Like, I do enjoy this track.
Yeah, it's slightly, once again, got kind of a retro feel to it, but this is the second song on my playlist. I got to give a shout out to Amy for finding. I did not find this on my own. She found it, and, you know, the first time I heard it in her car, like most of the time I'm rolling my eyes the whole time, but this came on, I was like, oh, maybe I can enjoy this one. And it's just got that, I'm just a really groovy, bluesy, soulful tone to it that's awesome.
It really builds. And like Dusty, you were saying, it's like on every commercial for everything.
But it's like a cover of it.
Yeah, it's not as good as this version. But it's
definitely
super soulful.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I haven't had cable for like 15 years, so a lot of the time I'll think I find this song that's really awesome, and then everybody's like, yeah, that's been on commercials for the last 3 years, asshole. Everyone knows that song.
Yeah, dude, I fall into that category too, JMO. Like, it's like You know, then you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, it was on a Buick commercial. Great.
You know, they consider
Like, I
themselves.
still fucking like it.
Consider themselves a psychedelic soul band.
Ah.
Okay, I can.
I've
see
not
that.
listened to any of their other stuff, so I might have to check that out.
I'm intrigued to listen to some of their other stuff. I'll probably branch out. You know, pick some of their extra stuff apart and see if I enjoy any more of it. But this track for sure was solid though.
It's sonically pleasing.
There you
Sonically
go.
pleasing.
Sonically.
Yeah, I know. I need to get like some sort of like, you know, button going on. What's that? Anybody hear
Nailed
that?
it.
Yeah, what is? Are you playing Money
Oh
over
no!
there?
Oh no! That's the wrong track.
That's Caleb's stamp. He's
I have
stamping these
a
assholes.
small sound pad. I don't know what's on there. What's
Yeah,
that?
nice.
I just heard a coin machine, so
Oh yeah, that's the money one. There you
instantly like takes me to the dark side of the moon.
go. Oh.
That's all I can. Oh, money.
Yeah, exactly.
Start that little 5/4 bass walk.
Yeah.
All right. And now we get to Bloom.
Yeah, by Odessa.
Yeah. So
So-
this track always has some fucking energy with it, man.
Yeah, just Odessa in general. Like, they're like they kind of cross the line between like a real like, I guess they are EDM, but not really. But I don't know. Like I can turn on. Like I always think, like when I was in high school or junior high and going snowboarding all the time up at Mission Ridge, like an Odessa album is what I wish I had to throw in the headphones and just go like gliding down the mountain. Like
That's fucking beautiful.
That's the
Yeah, I can see
vibe that pops up into my mind when I listen to Odessa.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what category this would fall in. I mean, you mentioned EDM, but I don't really know, like, because like electronic music isn't super my forte. I enjoy electronic music, but like Caleb, would you classify this as EDM?
Yeah, if I see Odessa pop up, I think of that because it's like Jamison said, like I was listening to a lot of like Bass Nectar and I think some Odessa crossed in there and some of the other like he's got some other ones coming up, Above and Beyond, Dead Mouse, whatever. Yeah, it'd be like I'd go longboarding all day long and just listen to EDM in my headphones and fly down streets that were cluttered with traffic.
Yeah.
It's definitely the type of music you'd be watching a skate video to or snowboarding video. You'd just be playing like a montage of some guys doing all his tricks and shit with a fisheye.
Yeah, for real. So we
like,
skate alongside.
Like
Yeah,
that's the kind of EDM I like. The stuff that
It's like a laid back EDM, more like
Yeah.
like
still kind of
What-
triumphant. It has a lot of big feels to it.
It's almost like maybe classify it as down tempo a little bit. Maybe be the actual classification, I guess.
something you just chill out to.
Yeah, but damn, this is a great, like, in like listening to this whole thing in shuffle, like when this popped up, it was just like such a nice like, boom, what a good, what a solid track. You're gonna go for a ride with it. But this is kind of like, I feel like the next like couple are like, you know, kind of fall into that sort of electronic category.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
On My Way to Heaven.
Yeah, so I went through. Yeah, I had a phase for sure, and I definitely got into EDM. And On My Way to Heaven is Above and Beyond, and Above and Beyond is like I think it was the second year that we went to Paradiso. They were one of the headliners, and they came on the main stage at like 7:00 at night, and so it's the middle of summer.
Yeah.
The sun is just starting to go down over the gorge, and it's just gorgeous outside.
Yeah.
And they're like super uplifting trance, and trance wasn't like, at this point when I was first getting into EDM, like everyone else, it was all dubstep. And then I heard Above and Beyond, and like immediately seeing those guys in that setting, like my entire preference of genre shifted, and I was obsessed with this album, Group Therapy specifically. Like it was so good. Like it totally shifted my preferences in the genre.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like electronic. Like for myself again, like it's like one of those like. With music, I need a guide. So it's like sort of like, you mentioned trance, you mentioned dubstep, you mentioned EDM, and it's just like, okay, what is what there? So it's like I know I like elements of all these things. I'm just like, what do I, like, and so that's kind of cool. So you classify this as a trance?
Yeah. So
track?
this is trance. Trance usually, like, dubstep is kind of like the thing that everyone got into in like 2013 with like Skrillex.
Well, for
and
sure.
stuff.
I mean,
Oh,
it was. I think
definitely.
it was the thing that kind of like popped into the mainstream
Yeah.
enough to like grab people's attention and bring them back to like the EDM shadow and like start like then people can explore from there.
But trance has been like, I would say it's like the global EDM genre for the last like 20 years, really. Like the really big like legendary DJs you hear about, like Armin van Buuren and Tiesto, those are trance DJs. And so it's a little bit more on the repetitive side. They rely a lot less on like the sick drop, bro,
Yeah.
where it's more about a driving beat, and it's usually a little bit faster. Like if I remember right, like about 190
That's way too
BPM.
fast.
Is it, or is it 170 maybe?
No, like that's like it's like 140, like 130 to 140.
Well, okay, for trance, 130 to 140.
Yeah, usually.
Okay. Well, what would be like? I mean, what would be like 170 then? Like
Drum and bass,
Yeah, that's
fair.
like,
Okay.
yeah, that's
which
like-
that's like Caleb talked about last episode, pendulum. They're kind of like like when I think of drum and bass, which I never dove super deep into them, so maybe it's just the bias I have because that's the band I know, but they're kind of like the drum and bass band I would think of.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, man. I mean, either way, this trance track was pretty dope. So
Yeah.
I'm learning my vernacular as we speak. So, and also, dude, just like what a beautiful fucking picture you just painted with like that whole scene of Paradiso at the Gorge. If you've ever been to the Gorge to see a show, you have that moment, that like sunset fucking moment.
Yeah.
Like,
And
oh my
I mean,
God, dude.
It had been like 110 degrees all day.
Yeah,
Everyone
that's-
was dying and so hot. And
That's always it.
the sun starts to go down and everybody just gets to take a like collective breath, like, oh my God, it's cooling down. And they're
it's
just
getting
like,
dark.
this
Finally.
super uplifting music comes on with just that like really, I don't know, like it definitely was like a memorable moment I'll never forget.
For sure. Yeah, that's when you lock away, right?
Yeah.
But okay, so moving into Dead Mouse, we got Strobe, this is the song I put on like right after we closed. I was just like, I'm ignoring things for a little bit.
So Dead Mouse is like, I would say firmly in the house genre. And kind of, this is another one where like I started, because trance has a lot of like really vocal tracks that can be pretty cheesy a lot of the time, whereas house music kind of relies more on the beat and just like instrumental. And so Strobe was like probably the first Dead Mouse song I ever got into, and it was another one when I got into it, I was listening to it at work and stuff, and I remember one time like I'm listening to it, and this song, I think I put the radio edit in here so it's trimmed down, but if you listen to the whole song, it's like 7 or 8 minutes, and the opening of it is just, I mean, it's a solid 2-3 minutes of the intro, which is just really repetitive, which, I mean, if you know it's coming and you like it, it's fine. But to a 40-year-old guy who doesn't listen to any electronic music, I mean, minute 2, he's like, is there something wrong with your phone? Is it just on repeat? I was like, just stop. And it's good. And then it goes into the hook, and it's like, it finally pops over, and you kind of just get to enjoy the song. But Yeah, it's my favorite Deadmau5 song for sure.
So the reason for that like long intro or outro on a non-radio edit is it's usually like a DJ edit. So
Yeah.
sometimes the first minute's like just drum beat and then like a little bit of the melody. And the idea is so that you can like take the tail end of another song that you have playing already and like mesh it up. So there's not too much going on, they don't clash. And so then you can seamlessly mix into the next song with a track version like that.
That makes sense. Oh, that's smart though. I didn't think about that. That's cool. Yeah, so is that something you have to learn? You got to learn what to do with a set if you're DJing? Then is that just like a staple thing to sort of do with your tracks?
Yeah, you want to
seamlessly layer, right?
You want to beat match it, get it in time and sequence, so it's not like staggered and weird. And then you gotta also think about like what key, you're moving to or staying in or whatever.
Yeah, that's interesting, man.
But like Deadmau5 is great at that. Like I'd call it like progressive house.
Progressive house, yeah.
It does there's a lot of interesting arpeggios and weird little polyrhythms with the melodies and stuff. And, you gotta kind of sit down and give it some attention, but then you realize this is actually kind of complex and interesting yet simple.
Yeah, I agree. And that's like one of the appeals for me, at least for a lot of like electronic music is that, it comes off as like kind of simple until you really start thinking about it. And you're like, damn, where'd that come from? How long has that been going? And then you start noticing like the different pitches and the different things that they're using and just like all these different, it's just, it's a fun, every electronic song can be like pretty fun to just sort of dissect in a way. But from there, from Deadmau5, you jump to Human Factor, which we kind of, we talked about a little bit. Long Year, though, this is the track. This, you've turned me on to the Human Factor at this point, Jamison.
Good.
So.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, because
I'm hooked.
We talked about them a little before, not a super well-known band or anything, but they're damn good.
Yeah.
And I confirm, I looked up after our podcast last week, and they're just like some guys from Russia, they're Russian musicians. They probably aren't ever going to sign a major label or anything, but they're just damn good, solid musicians.
Yeah. Honestly, the songs are sound really great, but they were just the type of music and what they do. It just reminds me of honestly reminds me of a band I would see in town, some sort of local gem of a band that just can fucking pull it together and just slay a set, bouncing off of each other because they've been fucking playing together, forever. And anyway, it has this awesome fucking feel to it, their music, and there's all these ups and downs with it, that just keep your attention, which is something I always look for in music. It seems like I'm just always okay, what's coming up?
Yeah, kind of like when Between the Buried and Me have these long instrumentals where they kind of flow in and out of different things.
Yeah, they kind of started that with their Colors album.
Yeah.
It was less about just being death metal and screaming, and they would have a 5-minute cut of just instrument. And I remember one of their songs even has a bluegrass segment in it. I think it's Ants of the Sky, if anyone wants to look. But
that's an album I would like to dig back into a little bit.
Yeah, great album. Still holds up.
All their stuff was damn good. Then the cover album they did.
Yep.
Dude. Yeah, that's it's been a while since I've listened to them, man. But the Human Factor though, that's such a great discovery. And that's kind of one of the things I love about there's lots of good and bad about streaming music, but the accessibility that it gives to consumers is so fucking great. I could have just imagined that this group would have just been stuck with their pocket of places that they play in Russia, and that would be it. But now they have a bunch of
clubs.
Yeah, exactly. And now you have you have assholes over here making podcasts talking about your music. So it's cool. I think I like that. I like being able to discover like that kind of shit from across the globe, you know. It's not just internet. What is this? Would this be classified as international music?
Sure, why not?
I mean, technically it is, but I don't know much. Like, I don't think there's much international about it.
NPR would play it. Is that what?
Yeah,
maybe. No, I doubt it. But yeah, this is a good jam. But this takes us into another Manchester Orchestra song, which is from their most recent album.
Right.
Angel of Death is the name of this track. And this track is, good pick. There's so many tracks. Like this album, I have so many different tracks I want to put. You know, it's like the representative thing that I like about this album. But this track was a good pick, man.
Yeah, I think I've beat it to death in the last podcast about how much I like this band all of a sudden. But this is the one that from their newest album that I think it's really like they have their first song on this album. I think it's called like Inaudible Noise, which is what it is. It's just like kind of building into this, and this is the title track on the album. And I mean, I think for myself, I think it's the strongest song on the album. And
yeah, definitely one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely one of my favorites. But yeah, this just in general, like, I mean, Manchester. I think they've kind of. It's interesting because I think they hit their sound, you know, in every album they make, but they also kind of, you know, they've explored other elements. But I think, you know, we were pointing it out earlier. Andy has a very distinct vocal, and like with any track that they do, it's immediately you can tell it's a Manchester Orchestra track, no matter like what music styling it is. As soon as the you know the vocals come on, you're like, oh, there it is.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of other projects too, like Bad Books and stuff like that, and that's pretty good.
I mean, I've seen Manchester twice live, and they put on a hell of a live performance. At least they did when they were like, you know, 5 years ago. So, you know, and it's really cool to see like their whole like layout on stage. They have the auxiliary drummer and like and everything.
Yeah, they did right before the new album came out. They're like we're gonna put to bed a Black Mile at the Surface. So they did like during lockdowns they spent like $7 million or something ridiculous doing this. It's on their YouTube. They just did a live like concert stream.
I watched that the other night.
Yeah, and so I think they said they spent like $7 million between filming it and all the shit, the editing and everything.
My God.
Yeah.
Whoa. Quite the production.
Yeah.
Did you say, Dusty, that they're going to be touring in the area?
Yeah, it's not till February-ish. I think they're coming to Northwest.
We should all go.
Yeah, I've been meaning to because I want to see them definitely for this tour. But
I'd so be down. We should we should keep eyes on that and see what we can do.
Yeah. I think it's in February. And I'm not sure if they're playing just Seattle. You know, that Seattle hit Portland. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or if they're going to Spokane or anything. But
yeah, we should check back into that.
Sorry to cut you off, Caleb.
No, I was going to say, I think I like that song better than the what was it, The Maze?
The Maze.
I mean, they're both good songs, but I felt that one was kind of, it had a little more drive to it. And I remember, like, yeah, it always stands out to me, like, the one part I really do like a lot is I really would love to see what they're like, set up for their guitar pedals or instrumental. They do a lot of interesting, cool, atmospheric stuff.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to go to the show with us.
We'll see.
Maybe. All right. So perhaps one of my favorite tracks on this playlist, just because of like, how much it always hits.
Topical.
Fucking Deltron 3030, man.
Oh yeah.
No, you know, Virus hits. If you listen to it, it is on point. Dusty is 100% right. It's still topical, man. This album is even more topical than ever before.
Yeah. Well,
And-
we touched on it last episode. You know, you said this was the album that you can never really put down, and I mean it has a lot of nostalgia for me. I remember my brother introducing it to me. My brother's 10 years older than me, so you know, right when it came out, he had it, and him introducing it to me and being one of my first like hip hop exposures. And I think this song really kind of like, I know Mastermind and a couple other songs on this album are probably a little bit more popular than Virus, but I think Virus has like the drops that are in it, you know, it has the instrumentals, and it like it is just like the perfect piece for Deltron in my mind.
Yeah,
Like-
dude, I think it like it. Dan the Automator serves up Del like the perfect canvas to lay like the lyrics down on it with this.
Yeah.
Like, you're right, and that's like a testament to like that duo, dude. Like they just worked so well together,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, dude, yeah, 100% good choice, always.
Make that money noise.
Yeah, so these, just before we move on, these last four were kind of all, well, I guess the next two, so these three were throwbacks, and then the last one's just for fun.
For fun.
But,
Fair enough,
but
fair
yeah,
enough.
these last three are kind of nostalgia picks for me. So
Well, dude, you know, the next one, the Supertramp song,
yeah,
Bloody Well Right. It hits still, man. I really dug it.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Classic.
Supertramp was like either one or two of my dad's favorite bands. And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
my dad passed when I was 9 years old, but I have memories of him both playing this on cassette in his pickup and having this, which I have the copy of this on vinyl, his
Dope.
vinyl copy of this album.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
I remember this song specifically, and it's got, I mean,
I think it's the first song on that album. If I remember
Yeah.
right.
yeah, and you know, Supertramp's just kind of a weird
They
band
are.
as is. Like they're interesting and different. Like they don't really fit the classic rock vibe that you would think of a 70s band, but they're interesting.
They're
And yeah, this one, I really enjoy this song.
Yeah, dude, I definitely dug it. And I mean, like a lot of classic rock, I'm still just like discovering new random songs from bands from those eras, like to this day.
Yeah.
And this was again one of them. I put it on one morning and I was opening with my coworker, and I was like, oh, I'm listening to this awesome Supertramp song, and like immediately like they said like I can't remember what they said first, and then they said Bloody Well Right, and I was like, oh yeah, it's actually this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one they probably said was Breakfast in America,
Yeah, that was it.
which
Or the
is
Logic song.
But
Yeah.
this was like it's a fun song, honestly, and that's what I really appreciate about.
It always remind me
about
of a little bit of Kansas, and then a little bit of what's the other band? Manfred Mann, who had that
Yeah.
song "Blinded by the Light."
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So,
No, if I was going to describe Supertramp, I would say that they are sassy,
Sassy.
Sassy.
Yeah, that fits.
especially
Yeah.
that song.
Oh yeah.
It's got some attitude.
Supertramp's got some attitude.
stamp that attitude.
That's what I mean. I need to get like a stamp sound just for the things Caleb says.
A verdict, fucking just a gavel.
Get a gavel. Kung kung. Law and order noise.
Oh, dude.
It'll
have to happen. You know, I think we're still under Dick Wolf's radar, so we could use it. He won't come after us. You can never escape Dick Wolf. All right, but the next track is an Alice in Chains track. Would?
Yeah, with the question mark, don't forget it. So this might be I guess this will be my hot take of the night, but I think Alice in Chains is the best grunge band from the Pacific Northwest that there's ever been. Personally, they're my favorite. I would put Alice in Chains above Nirvana or, any of them. And this song really, like, a lot of people don't like Lane Staley's vocals. They say he's got a, and it can be kind of a grating voice, but this one really gives you kind of like the full range of his vocals. And it's not one of their big hits, but it's, I think, a great song that kind of showcases that like late 80s, early 90s Seattle grunge scene.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, that is an interesting hot take. I don't know if I've dug so much into grunge to like have formulated an opinion on the great grunge bands of the Pacific Northwest,
Right.
So that's interesting. Do any of you contest that?
No, I would agree. Actually.
I never wasn't much into grunge.
No,
Grunge.
I just think Nirvana gets so much play and so much praise. And I definitely listen to Alice in Chains before I'd listen to Nirvana or
I think they're grimier. They're a little heavier, and I don't know. I mean, it's fun to like chuckle at Eddie Vedder mumbling, and I'm really sick of listening to Kurt Cobain talk about it. Because why are we heralding the words of a 27-year-old heroin addict as something we need to emulate or pay any attention to?
Yeah, but I mean that's the same thing with Alice in Chains. I mean Lane Staley died of an overdose, so.
But at least their shit is harder, and it's.
I liked is Blind Melon grunge?
I mean, yeah, kind of. I would put it in that, like,
same era, I guess.
That 90s
Pearl Jam
rock.
and God, why am I
heroin rock? Is that what you said?
Heroin.
Yeah,
definitely. When I think of Blind Melon's No Rain, I think of heroin.
I'm blanking so much. Who sings Black Hole Sun?
Oh, the Black Crows.
No, not Black
Soundgarden.
Soundgarden. That's the other like big one that I'm thinking of. Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Nirvana. Those are kind of like I would say
ones,
like the big ones that people say are like the grunge bands. But
what about Extreme? Anybody remember the band Extreme?
I do not. What
Well,
kind of
they had
hits do they have?
They had the hit song More Than Words.
More than words.
They were actually a metal band, but their hit song More Than Words was a like soft acoustic song. I'm sure if you heard it, you'd know exactly.
Probably recognize it right away.
yeah,
Well, you're the second person that I've met, Jamison. Well, and now the third, I guess, with Caleb, that like highly recommends Alice in Chains out of like that era. So
yeah.
Again, it's like one of those groups. I'm familiar with like a handful of their tracks, but it's like, maybe there's more to dig into. I might have to start doing that.
I wouldn't say it's something that you could like just throw on their list and listen top to bottom. It's not really. It's not that. But
like pick a track every now and then.
Yeah, just pepper it in, and like if you look, like Down in a Hole is another song where he's singing about his addiction to heroin, and it's really kind of dark and deep and kind of gives you like a taste. Like it just, they're good.
Man in a Box is like, they're like, they kind of have a little bit of it's not a whine, it's more of a low, angsty whine.
I don't think I've ever, I mean, I just remember Aaron's brother Ethan was swaying Alice in Chains. That's how I always heard of them.
That's a good wall pedal.
And I think people also shit on him a little bit because of that song Rooster got really popular. Yeah. And it sounds kind of ridiculous, he's where he comes to snuff the rooster is like the main lyric in the song, which makes no sense. But he's talking about his father fighting in Vietnam. So like if you look into it a little bit, it makes a little bit more sense. And but I think that song gets shit on a lot, and so they get pushed to the side because of that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I feel like they're, you know, and a lot of, I mean, this just happens with time, you know, the context becomes something that you have to start like researching, you know, and kind of digging into. It's no longer like at the forefront sometimes, but I don't know, it kind of makes it like more worthwhile, like once you kind of like, you know, can dig into that and like understand what the idea was behind an album or a track, you know. Which, speaking of, so what we got, the last track on the playlist, which is by Mr. Wheeler Walker Jr.
Yeah, so the track is All the Pussy You Will Slay. And Mr. Wheeler Walker is he's a country artist, and he was like a recording artist in Nashville for like 10 years, and he constantly tried to put out his album or make it big, and he couldn't do it. No one wanted him. And so he said, fuck it, and just decided to cut this like joke album. And somehow that album ended up on like the top 10 country hot list.
Oh my God.
And so he became this like persona, you know, and now he's just kind of this crazy, eccentric country artist who writes these hilarious songs. But I mean, obviously this song he's singing to his newborn son about how he's just going to slay pussy. And
what's the line like, right? It's like, you got your mother's eyes and your father's cock or something like that.
Yep. And I mean, this song, I sing it to Amy all the time just to get her so fired up. It's
literally the opposite of the first track. Like
I mean the complete opposite, full 180.
That's such a good point. I didn't even think about that.
It's a perfect sandwich.
Yeah, dude.
This is what parenting is. Sometimes we sing about our son and his future sexcapades.
Okay.
High five, little buddy.
You gotta hope for the best. Hope for the best.
Tell the truth.
No, overall, Jamison, like, I mean, this track was it was just really fun to listen to. It was just hilarious. But yeah, overall, man, I really appreciated this playlist. It was a really like, you know, there's a lot of really good stuff that kind of like was either turning me onto like a different genre or just kind of like provoking, like, you know, like, oh, maybe I should explore this specific artist a little bit more. So, you know, so thanks for slapping this together, man. It was a really good cut, I'd say.
Of course, my pleasure.
Okay, everybody give, like, Dusty, what did you think overall about the list, though?
Oh, it's good. I've been listening to it, like, so I work from home, so I just listen to whatever hell I want to. So I've just been listening through it, or at the gym. I remember first time that Wheeler Walker song came on, I was trying to run on the treadmill. God damn it. But no, I enjoyed it because it's got a lot of stuff that I'm into. So write a lot of stuff that'll pop up on my like daily stuff just from listening to Manchester so much, and other just random shit, indie pop stuff like that pops up.
Fair enough. Hell yeah. All right, Caleb. Overall,
I was expecting to hate it a lot more because that's just usually how.
Just negative Nancy.
I can't help it, but I'm really happy with like it was like okay, I can. It was nice to have it like as in a way it's like fun homework. It's like, okay, we're gonna do this thing, so it's like, okay, I'm gonna listen to these, and I'm glad I did because like some of them like not my thing, or you know, there was a couple that I was like, that's straight up stinky for me, but there's a lot of them that I either knew or liked or threw me back as well, and definitely some new stuff like the Catfish and the Bottlemen. I like that.
Nice.
Human Factor, definitely want to check them out some more. Yeah, I thought it was. I mean, I was expecting scorched earth and hatred, but I was pleasantly surprised with fruited meadows, sunshine.
In meadows and sunshine. Yeah, man. Well, you know, like, yeah, it was a well put together list. I'm looking forward to continuing this because, you know, Kev, you're just alluding to it, like this, and we were, you know, talking about it a little bit earlier, but it's just it's such a cool way to kind of reconnect this element that I think was so essential to all of us as a friend group, which was like our shared love for music and like all different manners of music, you know. And so, yeah, I just think this is like a really, this was really fun just kind of going through and being like, okay, like what's JMO jamming, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So, hell yeah. But like I said, this is going to be the first official episode of this new podcast for Old Heart Radio. Jamison, say the name again.
Under further review.
Boom. That's going to be the name. I'm going to come up with a cover for it. This will be.
You should put like I don't know. You should steal a photo from the NFL where it's a referee looking over under the tent.
That might be a good idea, actually.
Put like a just nasty like metal vest on it, you know, like with spikes and shit like that on it.
Slap some
Put an anarchy symbol on it. Yeah.
Oh, I have
Hell
a
yeah.
question.
Yes,
I've
sir.
noticed that in the episodes, there's always a moment where there's a lot of reverb on something someone says.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
I really don't know. It's usually when somebody has a speaker that's playing. Like there
No, I mean,
was.
It sounds like you're putting it in. Like someone will say something.
Yeah, it sounds like a drop
Oh.
for a second.
and it just sounds like.
I
it's the
forgot
voice
that's
of
in
God.
there. Yeah, no, there is. There's like a. Thanks for reminding me. There, it's like an old thing I started doing. Like I would just randomly put in like a section of like distorted, like filtered airtime somewhere in there, and
Make
so
sure you're
yeah,
paying
they're
attention.
yeah, it will pretty much. But there's got to be a section in there that's probably that. that I kind of forgot.
Definitely don't
It's like,
take it out. I like it a lot.
well, it's always something new, you know.
I know it's like an Easter egg. I get excited when I hear it. I'm like, oh, there it is.
Exactly.
Can you
It's like
can you
weird.
distort my voice in post where it's just like one of those old videos or like they're interviewing someone in the dark?
Oh, my favorite one, Zach Galifianakis live at the Purple Onion when he's pretending to be
Oh,
his
yeah.
brother Seth.
Yep.
And he's talking about I'm making ecstasy, or he said like ecstasy makes you a better dancer.
And they finally cut to him. He's like, the Fuji album.
yeah, the Fugees
Just
and
Fuji's
Funyuns.
and Funyuns.
I used to judge youth chili cook-offs.
Yeah, the youth pastor of chili cook-offs. Oh,
Classic.
fuck. Oh my god. Oh, okay, guys. I think we're gonna call it. I think this is the first episode.
All right, who's up next?
Who's up next? I'm gonna say Caleb.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Caleb, we're
All
coming
right.
for your list.
I apologize in advance for however much time between then and now elapses that you have to listen to that.
It's gonna take some time to get through it.
It'll be okay.
It's gonna happen though. All right. Well, I suppose we'll see you on the next episode, dear hot dogs. Everybody, say good night.
Good night, hot dogs.
Keep your stick on the ice.
There you go. There you go. Caleb, say something.
Keep that mustard flowing.
Ooh, I like that one. Keep that mustard flowing.